My dad was half
happened?
Chinese and half Hawaiian, and my mother is Swedish.
Wow.
Like Queen?
Singapore, Colin's wedding.
Now, I admire Cassius Clay, I do. What I admire is, in his sport, there's an element of true combat. But in martial arts tournaments, I do to win what they do to win.
Well, if you fought Cassius Clay, who would win?
Well, that would never happen.
But if you did, what do you think would happen?
I'd make him a cripple.
So the opening is about Cassius Clay and this martial art power. The Bruce Lee episode in Hollywood time break that Hollywood tradition that it's always a white man kung fu and samurai and saving people as they go around the village.
So I haven't seen this. I'm not familiar with, but as soon as I saw immediately I was like Bruce Lee. I want to say it's about Bruce Lee. And so I was like, oh, okay, I recognize who they're trying to portray here.
Small clip you just saw is from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. A lot of characters in here that loosely based off on events and characters historically show what was happening at that time. And in this clip in particular, what's happening is another stunt actors is belittling Bruce Lee and their capabilities of acting. What are other actors that come into mind?
Now we have Lucy Liu, we have several Asian men, Jackie Chan.
First person I think of is Michelle Yeoh.
Are there things that you can think about in terms of Bruce Lee's contribution to Hollywood and also to Kung Fu?
I grew up playing video games a lot. There's one character, his name is Law, who's based on Bruce Lee, the exact same fighting style and the mannerisms to the sounds and all that, very, very much spot on. I want to say Bruce Lee was also very instrumental in the Ip Man movies. He sparked the whole kung fu film industry, at least over here in the States, to be more popular, really paving the way for martial arts.
Eventually, what ends up happening is that a lot of people use Bruce Lee as over-encompassing to Asians doing Kung Fu, karate, martial arts.
He became the brand name of Asians. Asian, you should know martial arts.
His specialty was in Kung Fu, and it really stems from Taoist priests and Chinese monks and a philosophy and a way of thinking about how to deal with troubles or adversity. And it's not always about breaking bricks, smashing boards. In a lot of the interviews, he says that it's not karate where they grunt and yip and where they miss and chop the table in two with their hand. Kung Fu is simplicity. He mentions that if he did try to actually break a board with his hand, he'd probably hurt his hand, or even break his hand instead of breaking the board. Bruce Lee tried very hard to what it truly was and the originality of it. Do you think that it's important for actors to have the credentials or backgrounds that are similar to the characters that they're playing?
As an artist, I believe in authenticity.
I think that the actors should either from the same background or similar, because it's not just on the producers and the directors to do the research. The actors, if you really want to embody the role, you have to know the role. You have to know the context in which you're doing this production, because it makes it more authentic. I would say. I would think it also it makes the quality so much better.
Now, especially Kung Fu. Kung Fu is a sacred martial art. It's not just movement. It's not just sports. It came from the temples. It has a deep history and deep meaning and deep discipline. Besides, it's a industry hazard. Doing that stunt that you don't understand what Kung Fu is, that's very dangerous.
Yes, it would be great to have folks who have the background, but if you don't come from that same cultural background, but you've done the work and understanding, all the context and all that jazz, then it's fine.
Do you think by Lee's assertion of bringing Kung Fu into Hollywood and the industry, do you think that helped to change the narrative?
It shows a fierceness, especially when we use martial arts as like like a central theme to the movie for brevity. Like, don't fuck with us, like fuck around, find out. But at the same time, it's like we can't solely use martial arts as like the factor to drive that positive narrative forward. It's like we have to look at other aspects, because if pigeonholes us into that trope, like, okay, like they're only good for this. Like the only time they're not the small, submissive, weak people is in martial arts.
What's happening, hot stuff?
So, what's your name?
Dong.
What's your first name?
Long.
What's your middle name?
Duck.
Hey, Howard, there's your Chinaman. Oh, thanks, Fred. Hi, Doc. What the? What's he doing on the ground there?
Have you ever seen that clip before?
No. Oh, I should see this movie.
I've seen bits and pieces, but I never watched the full thing.
16 Candles is a romantic, like chick flick kind of movie. In this particular clip that you saw, it's all a compilation of the character Long Duk Dong. And it's played by Gedde Watanabe. Long is a foreign exchange student who is staying at the baker's residence while they're in America. Do you see any issues with this character?
Oh my God. So it's like, okay, playing off on the accent. I clocked right away, okay, this guy has to be actually Japanese, because like I can hear the Japanese accent, but they're playing him off as a Chinese character.
Well, he is kind of in a culture shock.
People just kind of like, putting him down, like in the dinner table scene with the quiche. As you don't smell quiche, you just eat it. Like making fun of his like English skills or lack thereof.
There's a patronizing, and also the concept of what is an Asian according to the Western understanding.
I think it's a prom night scene, some homecoming dance or whatever, where he's with the girl. But like the girl is taking the lead, clearly, because like, when she's taller, and also it emphasizes Asian men are like more like they're smaller, they're not as like strong or like dominant, so to speak, like white men. Also, when they're on the exercise bike, he's straddling her on an exercise bike. I'm like, yeah, this is playing more into that stereotype. And then when he's on the bike by himself, he's struggling to further, reinforce like, oh, the stereotype that Asian men are weak, they can't handle stuff.
Music is all like kung fu music.
In this study, it shows that in a lot of movies, there's a lot of characters, especially Asian male characters, where you're laughing at them. In Bruce Lee's situation, you see the character Cliff Booth laughing at Bruce Lee for thinking that he is able to perform or even act and have any major lead roles in Hollywood. Long's character, they get laughed at, and they have certain punchlines that come out as like, no way, Jose. It became a catchphrase, and it continues to belittle the Asian man who do have various personas, just like any person of any ethnicity and culture. These Asian characters for decades are not people that you laugh with. They're constantly being mocked on screens. Positioning Long's character to Bruce Lee, we see stark differences.
Up to now, that kind of stereotype exists, that Asian men are effeminate.
His character makes us look more submissive, that we don't know how to take control and like take the lead in things, like with his relationship with the girl. It takes away that power that that we should have, right? That we do have, but a lot of times media does not let us have that, and as well as other structures in society. It really paves the way for more racism, for more white supremacy. It also plays out this way in a lot of like adult films, for example.
Sexuality wise, that Asian men are inferior.
Tiny Asian man or woman, white top, Asian bottom. It goes into a whole thing of like race play. Like it harms us in a way that like when we try to form genuine relationships with people, even if it's like work, friends, or like romance, and it makes it so much harder, and people really capitalize on fetishizing us.
The Bruce Lee character is more of fairy tale rather than being feared. Bruce Lee is a legend, but looks like it's not really threatening. still Asian. Now, this guy who's an exchange student, up to now, Asians are bullied in schools. Anti-Asian hate is existing. In stories like this is painful.
Have like the strength, the fierceness of Bruce Lee, but then you also have the vulnerability of Long. They show various aspects of who we can be, but when you only play into one more than the other, then it doesn't do much positive impact.